As cinematographers, when we think about getting aerials, there are a number of ways to capture footage from the sky. Drones are clearly the easiest and most accessible way to get footage. But there are downsides like flight zone restrictions, FAA laws and regulations, image quality, camera movement, and more. So today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite alternatives: helicopters. I love helicopter rides. I have them take my door off and I just film out the side, and I don't tell my mom about it until I'm safe on the ground after the flight. Some of my most favorite shots I've ever captured came from the inside of a helicopter, and with the right stabilization in post, you can get some pretty silky smooth shots. Ideally, we'd have a gimbal attached to the helicopter, but those can be pretty complicated and very expensive. And so depending on your use and application, hiring a pilot to fly you around for an hour can be pretty simple and pretty cost effective. Here are my helicopter cinematography tips. Number 1, layer up. It gets windy and cold up there. Man, I've had some frigid flights. Number 2, strap up. Your camera needs to be attached to you, not just held in your hands. They will require this. Number 3, don't do the tours like with other tourists. I've gone this route and it's just a hot mess, and they cancel flights and people are in your way and there's more restrictions and it's just not as good. But it is cheaper. I say hire a pilot that you can direct. Which leads to my next point, number 4, direct the pilot and be bold. I always explain to the pilot during prep and load-in what I'm doing and what I'm after, which is this. I want to fly low and close to buildings and landmarks, like as low and close as possible, and that's still safe. Number 5, think about flight path. Every minute costs money. If you want to circle around the Brooklyn Bridge a few extra times, for example, know it's going to cost you. Number 6, don't do it if you get sick. Some people are afraid of flying and get anxiety, and some are afraid of heights, and some get motion sickness easily. If you fall under one of these types of people, the heli ride is definitely not for you. Number 7, have fun with camera angles. One of my favorite cinematic compositions is the Dutch angle, and that's a tough angle to get with most drones. So while I have my camera in my hands, I like to grab a slightly off balance or fully angled shots. This distinguishes itself from standard wide angle straight on drone footage we're all accustomed to seeing. Now, onto the more technical side, number 8, bring a zoom lens, but be wary of really zoomed in shots. I generally shoot with a 24-70, and I use the entire range during the flight. However, the more zoomed in you get, the more exaggerated the turbulence and shakiness, so be careful. Number 9, shoot slow. I generally shoot at a high frame rate when I'm up in the air, 60 to 120 frames per second, as it allows for a bit smoother end product. It's easier to stabilize, and actually, I found that sometimes you're moving pretty quickly past these things, whatever it is, a building or a landmark, and so it's nice to be able to slow down that moment for a bit. Lastly, number 10, break the 180-degree rule for your shutter speed. Usually, in normal shooting conditions, we want a 2x or double our frame rate. So if you're shooting at 24 frames per second, our shutter should be 1/48, right? Well, because we know for a fact we're gonna need to stabilize the footage, I recommend shooting at a higher shutter speed, like probably 4 times the frame rate. This will make the stabilized footage look better because we'll have less motion blur from the turbulence. More on shutter speeds in another video, but for now, that's it. I hope you all can get out there and try this sometime. I know it's not always the most feasible depending on your location and money you have to spend, but it's been one of my favorite activities as a filmmaker. And if not, if you can't get in the chopper for some reason, drones are cool too. See you next time.